Hello there, this is Tanya O'Callaghan. I'm here at Copenhell with Bruce Dickinson and you are watching Chaoszine.
Okay, so what's up everyone? Chaoszine is here today at Copenhell Festival and I have Tanya from Bruce Dickinson's band as guest. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. I love Copenhell.
And you were also in Finland last week and people are still talking about that show because it was brilliant, amazing. I cannot even find the word for it.
Yeah, that was a particularly fun show. I mean, it's been an incredible tour, but yeah, Finland was an amazing crowd. I mean, you guys know how to party.
It was more like a South American crowd than a typical Finnish crowd, and like everybody at the show were talking about it. Like after that Finnish crowd doesn't react like that, like never.
Yeah. We were actually really surprised at that, and one of the first things that we said was that was like a Brazilian crowd. And it was just totally like from the downbeat, everyone was like, ah!
But it was such a small venue that all the fans were like super diehard Bruce Dickinson fans.
Exactly. That's what's been so fun about this tour, to step back a little and do somewhat smaller venues. And obviously we're still doing the festival circuit, but it's fun for everyone because it brings you back to your roots and it's really hardcore in like hot, sweaty clubs. It's pretty rock and roll.
So how has it overall been to be out with such a legend as Bruce is?
It's amazing. Like, I love working with Bruce. I worked with him on another tour before this where we did the orchestra. So we did all the music of Deep Purple and John Lord, the concerto, and it was he's such a blast to work with because obviously he's a legend in music, but he's also just the world's most interesting dude, you know, total polymath. So, you know, just a great dude to be around, and it's a really nice camp and everyone gets on super well, and he's a blast to be on stage with. Endless energy.
And the tour has been running well, and for me at least, I've seen you already in Mystic and now the club show. It seems that you have like a super good chemistry also as a band to play.
Yeah. The band is like it's a lot of fun, you know, which is. It's always good on stage because it played in so many bands over the years, and that's the most important thing, like the on-stage chemistry, and it's really, really fun. So as you see, you've seen us, there's a lot of running around and rocking out, and Bruce is great to interact with on stage, so are the other guys. So yeah, we have a lot of fun on stage, and the songs are just like endless riffs.
I don't know where the guy gets all that energy in what, I don't know, he's like 65 or something and he's running like fucking 20-year-old on stage.
He outruns us all, I think. Like, I thought I was running around and fit, but this guy outruns us all. But yeah, he's a blast. I don't know, he has endless energy and that's really fun for live. So. And
you've been like playing with tons of like super well-known musicians like Maynard and obviously Bruce and Dee Snider and David Coverdale. Do you find like any similarities between these like super well-known established artists that you've played with?
Yeah, I mean, obviously all of them are great songwriters and they're hit machines in slightly different genres, but you know, there's a rebellion in all of them that's familiar throughout the thread, like really unique personalities, and I have to say, like, pretty much all of them are some level of like a polymath. They're really interesting, diverse artists. Obviously,
of course they are.
You know what I mean? And that's why I think they have such long-standing careers and such a unique careers like that. And it's great because like obviously Maynard has multiple bands and he's a winemaker and he's just an incredibly intelligent person, which makes his art so interesting when it came to like the Pussifer stuff. And you know, obviously David's a legend and wrote all these incredible hits, and I love the thread of like the fact that David was in Deep Purple and then I ended up doing the Deep Purple music with Bruce. So there's been this interesting thread through it all, but they're all just outstanding, remarkable artists with this persistence and this like long career, which is incredible.
But how on earth an Irish girl has ended up playing all these bands? How did it actually happen for you?
I know, it's a bit wild when I look back.
It's even wild just like looking who you have played with and considering where are you from, like not like from LA or like those
far
basic
from LA.
Yeah, but those like basic areas where you could get those musicians from.
Yeah. So I actually started really late in music. I was 18 when I started playing bass, which is quite late for most, you know, musicians, but because I worked in animal welfare my whole childhood and everyone thought I would be a vet. was very heavy in like animal activism, still am. But I picked up a bass when I was 18, and it really spoke to me, and I fell in love with it very quickly, and I started to gig in my hometown. My hometown's pretty musical, so there's a lot of bands around, and in a short space of time I was in bands. So I was gigging before I was really able to properly play.
Okay.
But that's like a baptism by fire. So you just jump in, and I'm in bands, and then I'm in wedding bands, and then it sort of escalated. But at a certain point I had done the vast majority of gigs that you could do in Ireland. It's a small pool, it's a small scene, and I started to recognize that, well, if I stay here and do this, I'll probably continue to play and be busy, but I think that there's going to be a point where I just keep going around in circles, so I need to go out and try and find bigger gigs. And then in my early 20s, Maynard, I met him in Glasgow, and he took a risk on me as a young studio player, and when I did the session with Pussifer, he kind of opened that whole scenario, opened my mind to, well, maybe if I go to LA or go out somewhere like that, I can be exposed to this level of artists. So I started making the trek back and forth to try and make it work, and it was years and years of just gigging, jam nights, saying yes to everything, getting paid for nothing, just slogging it, like really slogging.
The typical way of things, in a way.
Yeah, you just have to dive in and surround yourself, because I was realizing when I went to LA that the people who played like session musicians, hired guns, that play with big artists are playing these kind of jam nights when they're off the road. So let me go meet these people, ask questions, like see if I can get up and play. And then it was just years of this, and then one person sees you play, you get hired for a gig. And I got a couple of pop gigs first, R&B rappers I worked with, and then the first, it's Dee Snider's guys had seen me play, and I did the stuff with him, and then it was Adler, and then Whitesnake and Bruce, and it all just, once it started happening.
So it's like a snowball that is just started rolling for you in a good way.
Yeah. It's just at a certain point it starts to, because you're in that circle of like professional touring musicians. So and then it becomes, I don't want to say easier, because it's still a music industry, which is a tough industry.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's like a big chunk of years that nobody sees, that were just the usual slog of like
grinding
in like 10 bands doing all these awful gigs and sessions.
Yeah.
But that's how you get your wings. And
was it also like immediately clear that you want to be like an activist and speak about like important things in your life when you started this journey of yours, sort of?
Well, that comes long before music. When I was 4.
Okay.
I was like an activist from when I could remember. From a little girl, I worked in that very heavily. So as my music career started to take off, it was cool, because I'm like, well, at least now I can kind of use this platform and nowadays social media and engage with and talk about the stuff that I think is really, really important for people and the planet and animals. So that was always there. The activism is first and foremost in the forefront always, and then my music career came later, which is interesting. It was like semi backwards. But yeah, it's been great, because it allows me to, when I'm not on tour, I'm really heavily focused on what you call impact projects. I work with a bunch of foundations, and I work with a lot of groups doing impact projects, and they can be anything from media to fundraising, and it's everything across animal to human rights. So that's really where, like, a big passion for me. So it's great to be able to sort of merge the two worlds and then bring in people I know because the connections I have, and sort of try to use your platform for good.
How do you see it? Like, for myself, I get like frustrated many times because I feel that the world should be going to like a better place, and then we see like shit happening, like for example war in Ukraine and all these kinds of things. So does it ever feel like sort of like disappointing in a way that things aren't like going into the direction that you would hope them to go?
I think it's incredibly frustrating, but we have to remain optimistic, because some days it just feels like a total fucking dystopia out there, and some days it feels like utopia. But it's weird, because traveling and touring, the beautiful perspective that I love about this life is you see all the good in humanity. So I travel all over the world, and vast majority of the time your experience with people, local people, is phenomenal.
Yeah.
Everybody, most people are inherently kind and want good change.
Yeah.
But we also live in a time where we're bombarded by media, and people are taking, this as news and infighting and, division and all this. So I think that it's important to look up from the phone and look away from the TV screen and engage with the people. Because, often I get messages from people saying, whatever country I'm in, and people are like, I can't believe you went there. like, have you ever been? Like, don't judge it just because of something. Don't judge an entire, you know, group of people or whatever, or country based on something that you saw on a news channel or Facebook. So I think it's important for the world to, like, continue to
yeah, and also know how to read news, because there's so many fucking fake news out nowadays.
Pseudoscience, don't even get me started. We'll be here for hours. It's like, that's a can of worms you don't want to open with me pre-show, or I won't be on stage in time. But I remain optimistic because I work a lot in some exciting spaces, and I'm surrounded by a lot of like game-changing people who are everything from like the food and tech space, who I see what's being developed, and it's like it's heading pretty quickly into a lot of positive change. But, you know, humans are stubborn and we're set in our ways, so change can be hard. But I think, you know, I'll forever remain an optimist while I can.
So obviously you are now on the road with Bruce, and before heading out with Bruce, you were also out with Whitesnake on that farewell run, which was cut a little bit short.
Yeah.
So have you had like any sort of discussions if that will continue at any point, or?
We're hoping, I was just talking to this another interview earlier actually, we're hoping to finish the cycle at least, but I can't really speak fully for David because he's, as he says himself, never say never, but he's still recovering a little bit because that was a pretty intense tour run, and between rehearsals and everything, you know, 4 months, and he had gotten sick and a lot of health stuff unfolded for him, but he's doing pretty good. He's really excited about doing the farewell DVD and the book, and all that will be hopefully next year, which is fantastic. And as he says, never say never. Maybe we'll go out around that, but he wants to write and record some stuff. So like Whitesnake is not finished. That I can answer with a
I
solid
heard
yes.
some stuff about like Whitesnake, that there might be also new music in the works with Whitesnake.
Yeah, but yeah, it's not over by any means. But it's just, I don't know what iteration it will be that, you know, is next. Maybe, hopefully, I hope we finish the tour cycle. I really, really hope we do, because it's a great group of people to work with. And then hopefully nothing clashes with like everyone's schedule with Maiden and Bruce and Whitesnake. So it's a good predicament to be in. But hopefully I'll be up in the studio at the end of this year, and we'll see what happens.
So what's the situation with Bruce? Will there be like more shows, or is that like up in the air at the moment, or how does your like future yourself look like at the moment?
I mean, I'm completely slammed for the next probably 5 years.
But that's good.
No,
that's what you like to do, hopefully.
Absolutely, yeah. Because I also like do all these things outside of music, which is great and very exciting. Working on a documentary, I'm doing all these other things. But
so loads of emails again.
Oh my God! And that's why I'm like, I'm so sorry if I missed your email. I get about 250 of them every morning. No, Bruce is very keen to do this again, so I can speak relatively confident that we'll be back out. I'm sure it'll be, you know, obviously Maiden have a cycle coming up, so they're going to do that, and then after that our hope would be to fit a cycle of this in, and probably do the US and or South America, so try and do like another territory, and we'll see. But yeah, it seems to be to great response, so
yeah, and you would be up for it as well. Like, I
love working with Bruce. So it's all, if it aligns and our calendars align, yes, absolutely, because he's a total joy to work with. So, and we have the Maiden crew with us, so we're spoiled. We have like the best sound and monitor guys and crew, and it's just fantastic. It's really, really fantastic.
Hey, thanks a lot for taking the time from the busy schedule to do this with me, and all the best for tonight's show as well as for the future. Anything you want to say to the fans as a closer?
Thank you for having me, and I'm glad it aligned, because as you know, festival days can be a bit mental, and you're probably busier than me today.
Maybe today.
Yeah, but enjoy, and obviously all our tour dates are on themandrakeproject.com, and my own website has loads of information. It's just my name, so yeah, anyone that wants to stop by Instagram or say hello, you know where to find me. Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.